Good evening, welcome to Skytech-Lens. Tonight we're exploring tariffs, taxes on imported goods that impact nearly everything we buy. A tariff is a fee the government adds to products from abroad like electronics from China or cars from Europe. The main goal? To protect American industries and jobs by making imports more expensive, hoping we'll buy American instead. Tariffs also generate revenue for the government, funding public services or reducing the deficit. They're used as leverage in trade negotiations, pressuring other countries to open their markets or follow certain standards. But tariffs are controversial, often leading to unintended economic consequences. The real debate: who pays for tariffs? Is it foreign companies or do American businesses and consumers bear the cost? With tariffs at historic highs, their effects are now felt in stores, homes, and boardrooms nationwide. Tonight we'll break down how tariffs work and what they mean for your wallet. To truly understand how tariffs impact your everyday life, let's trace the journey of a single pair of trainers, starting from a factory floor in China, all the way to the shelves of your local store. This journey is more than just a trip across the ocean. It's a complex process that shapes the final price you see when you shop. It all begins when a US retailer places an order for these trainers. The shoes are manufactured overseas, packed into shipping containers, and loaded onto a cargo ship bound for America. After weeks at sea, the shipment finally arrives at a bustling American port, ready to enter the country. But before the trainers can be unloaded and sent on their way, US Customs steps in. Here, a significant tariff, sometimes exceeding 100% of the product's value, is applied. This fee isn't optional. The importer must pay it right away, or the goods can't proceed. This extra cost, often thousands of dollars for a single shipment, is immediately tacked onto the price of the trainers. Even before the shoes leave the port, they're already more expensive than when they left the factory. Next, the trainers are loaded onto trucks and transported to warehouses and distribution centers across the country. Each step, shipping, storage, handling, adds its own layer of expenses, further increasing the cost of the product. By the time the trainers reach the store, the retailer must set a higher selling price to cover not just the original cost, but also the tariff and all the added expenses along the way. This is why you might notice price tags creeping higher, even if the shoes themselves haven't changed. While some large companies might absorb a small portion of these increases to stay competitive, the reality is that most of the extra cost is passed directly to you, the shopper. For many families, this means making tough choices or cutting back on purchases. The price tag you see now reflects not just the value of the shoe, but also the hidden cost of tariffs paid at the border. Costs you might never notice, but that affect your wallet every time you shop. This process isn't unique to trainers. It repeats for thousands of products, phones, microwaves, clothing, toys, and more, every single day, quietly raising prices across the board. In this way, tariffs act as a hidden tax, embedded in the final price you pay at the register. You might not see a separate line for tariffs on your receipt, but you're paying for them all the same. It's important to remember, the foreign exporter doesn't pay this tax. The American importer does, and ultimately, you reimburse them when you buy the product. The cost quietly trickles down the supply chain until it lands in your hands. That's why tariffs, though rarely discussed at the checkout, quietly raise the cost of living for everyone, affecting families, students, and businesses alike. It's a chain reaction that starts at the port, winds its way through warehouses and stores, and finally ends at your wallet, shaping the prices you pay every day, often without you even realizing it. Tariffs hit hardest where America relies on imports, like electronics, clothing, and appliances. These are the products we use every day, often without thinking about where they come from or how they reach our shelves. But when tariffs are imposed, the impact is immediate and visible in the prices we pay. For example, a 25% tariff on a laptop can push its price from $800 to over $1,000, shrinking your purchasing power and making it harder for families and students to afford the technology they need for work or school. Suddenly, upgrading your computer or buying a new device becomes a much bigger financial decision. Most apparel is made overseas, so tariffs mean higher prices for everything from t-shirts to winter coats. Even basic items like socks and underwear can see price hikes, affecting every member of the family. The cost of staying warm in winter or simply updating your wardrobe starts to add up. Even small appliances, coffee makers, air fryers, become pricier, turning everyday purchases into budget decisions. What used to be a simple choice at the store now requires more thought, as families weigh the cost of convenience against their monthly expenses. Tariffs also reduce choice. When imports get too expensive, retailers may stop stocking certain brands or models. This means you might not find your favorite brand or the latest model on the shelves, forcing you to settle for less or pay even more for alternatives. Less competition means fewer options and, over time, even higher prices. With fewer brands to choose from, companies have less incentive to keep prices low or improve quality, and consumers lose out on both variety and value. The uncertainty around tariffs adds hidden costs, delays, higher shipping and insurance, that also get passed on. Importers and retailers face unpredictable expenses, which often means they raise prices just to cover their risks. So you're not just paying the tariff, but also for the confusion and inefficiency it creates. Every step in the supply chain becomes more complicated, and those complications show up in your final bill at the register. The result? Higher prices, less variety, and a more stressful shopping experience for American families. What used to be a routine trip to the store can now feel overwhelming, as budgets are stretched and choices are limited. Tariffs ripple through the supply chain, touching every corner of your daily life. From the groceries you buy to the clothes you wear and the gadgets you use, the effects are felt everywhere, reminding us that global trade policies have very real consequences at home. Across the country, American businesses, both large corporations and small family-run shops, are being forced to adapt quickly to survive the ongoing tariff storm. The impact is immediate and far-reaching, touching every sector from manufacturing to retail, and even the service industry. For many, the rules of the game seem to change overnight, leaving business owners scrambling to keep up. Small importers in particular face a tough choice: absorb the extra costs and risk going under, or raise prices and risk losing loyal customers. For some, the margins are already razor thin, and even a small increase in costs can mean the difference between staying open and shutting their doors for good. Many are forced to make difficult decisions daily, weighing the future of their business against the needs of their employees and customers. Larger companies may have more resources to weather the storm. They might try to absorb some of the costs or negotiate better deals with suppliers, leveraging their size and influence. But even for these giants, this strategy can't last forever. Eventually, the pressure mounts, and tough choices must be made. Sooner or later, most businesses have no choice but to pass the higher costs on to consumers. This means everyday Americans feel the pinch at the checkout line, whether they're buying groceries, clothes, or household goods. The rising prices can be a shock, especially for families already struggling to make ends meet. In response, many companies are now rethinking their entire supply chains, searching for suppliers in countries not hit by tariffs. This process is anything but simple. It's slow, expensive, and often requires building new relationships and infrastructure from the ground up. Shifting production to new locations can take years and involves significant investment. The costs of moving equipment, training workers, and establishing new logistics networks all add up, and these expenses inevitably end up reflected in the final price of goods. The uncertainty created by tariffs makes companies hesitant to invest in new projects or hire more workers. This caution slows economic growth and puts a damper on job creation, as businesses wait to see what will happen next. Some businesses, facing mounting costs and shrinking profits, delay expansion plans or even cut jobs to protect their bottom line. Layoffs and hiring freezes become more common, affecting families and communities across the nation. The result is a ripple effect: higher prices, fewer jobs, and a more fragile economy. Consumers spend less, businesses struggle to grow, and uncertainty lingers in the air. Tariffs don't just change prices, they fundamentally reshape how American businesses operate, forcing them to innovate, adapt, and sometimes make painful sacrifices. The ripple effects of tariffs are felt in every corner of the economy, from bustling cities to quiet small towns, reminding us that these policies touch every American life in ways both seen and unseen. The Federal Reserve's job is to keep prices stable and people employed, but tariffs are making both goals harder to achieve. The Fed warns that tariffs are fueling inflation and slowing economic growth. These costs are passed directly to consumers, especially for goods-heavy sectors. Traditional Fed tools like raising or lowering interest rates can't fix a tax imposed at the border. The risk? Stagflation, a toxic mix of high inflation and rising unemployment. If businesses cut back on investment and hiring, growth stalls while prices keep climbing. The Fed is stuck. Lowering rates could worsen inflation, raising them could trigger a recession. Their message is clear: monetary policy alone can't solve the problems tariffs create. As long as tariffs remain, inflationary pressure will persist, threatening the financial well-being of American families. For most families, tariffs are an invisible tax that quietly drains their budgets. Prices rise on everything from groceries to gadgets, but the tariff isn't listed on your receipt. This hidden tax hits lower and middle-income families hardest, forcing tough choices, like skipping new shoes or delaying a needed appliance. Over a year, these small increases add up to thousands in extra costs for the average household. That's money not saved, not invested, not spent on essentials. Economists warn, while tariffs are meant to punish foreign countries, it's American consumers who pay the price. The slowdown in spending shows families are feeling the squeeze. Tariffs make everyday life more expensive for everyone. Supporters say tariffs boost government revenue, helping pay down debt or fund services. While tariff collections have surged, economists argue the gains are offset by broader economic damage. Higher prices mean consumers buy less, and businesses invest less, slowing growth and reducing other tax revenues. Economic instability can increase government spending on unemployment and raise borrowing costs. The result? Any revenue from tariffs is often canceled out by these negative effects. Most analyses show tariffs don't improve long-term fiscal health. Sustainable growth comes from efficiency and investment, not trade taxes. The true cost of tariffs is far higher than the revenue they bring in. Experts have proposed several solutions to ease the tariff turmoil. One idea: fixed tariff schedules for a set period, giving businesses time to plan and price products predictably. Another: clarify and streamline exemption rules, so companies know if their products qualify. Simplifying customs guidelines would reduce costly delays and confusion at ports. Some call for Congress to set a stable, long-term trade framework, preventing sudden policy swings. The biggest shift? Investing in American competitiveness, modernizing infrastructure, digitizing ports, and funding innovation. These steps would strengthen the economy from within, reducing the need for tariffs. The goal: stability, growth, and relief for consumers. As of August 2025, America faces a crossroads on trade policy. Aggressive tariffs have led to inflation, business uncertainty, and strained households. The Federal Reserve warns the risks are real and growing. One path is to double down, hoping for long-term gains but risking stagflation. The other is to pivot, fixing tariff rules, lowering trade tensions, and prioritizing stability for families and businesses. The choices made now will shape the economy for years to come. The question: will we protect domestic industries at any cost or find a better balance for American families? Thanks for watching a video. Subscribe to the channel for more updates. Thanks.